about 2 hours after the game yesterday, Sean Whetstone, who runs at West Ham Football Twitter account, or whatever you call Twitter now, he also runs the More Than Just a podcast, and is somebody with excellent links within West Ham, reported that there's a big power struggle going on at the moment. It's a power struggle which could see David Moyes ultimately lose his job even earlier than his contract expiring at the end of the current season. The power struggle relates to him falling into line behind Tim Steidten, who's become ever more powerful and ever more prominent role at the club and has seen himself absolutely firmly installed as the number 2 most important person at West Ham United. Rather than me looking at all the fine detail of what Sean has said, I thought I'd give him a call. We'd get him onto a video last night, so I've got to thank him so much. He joined me late last night at about, 10:15, something like that. We went through it. Here's what he's got to say, and I should say at this point, his sources, I absolutely know. The story, I do categorically believe. So from what I can see, these are very, very interesting times at West Ham. Anyway, enough from me. Let's see what Sean says. You didn't know I was going to call you up and ask you to come on a video, so I do appreciate it, mate. Well, listen, rather than me summarising what you said, what did you tweet earlier on about Tim Steidten and David Moyes and the situation at the club and his future?
And now you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I think I said there's a behind the scenes power battle going on, and look, this has been building for a little time now. There were these rumours of Steidten and Moyes falling out, and they were denied by the club at the time, and there was the end of season, where they were seen talking everything. But you know what? I think a lot of those stories were probably true. We're now hearing that it wasn't an easy ride. Steidten possibly was not happy at the beginning and could have ended it, And look, we know David Moyes is a stubborn person, and there only can be one person in charge of transfers, right? It's really difficult to do it by committee, and I think Steidten's proved himself. He's being trusted. He was bought in, Spurs wanted him, Chelsea wanted him. We got him, right? And what I speculated from information from a number of sources is he is fast becoming the number 2 to David Sullivan. And when I say David Sullivan, we really mean proxy the board, because nowadays he has to talk to the board. He's not the majority shareholder of over 50%, so the Gold family and Trip Smith and Kredinsky. But that said, there's always been this vacuum of there's been no football person apart from David Sullivan, so he self-suggests he was. Karen Brady's always run the business part of it, but not the football part, no matter what she says. So in Steidten, I think they found a number 2. And what I've said is, if it comes down to it, there will only be one winner, and that will be Steidten. And David Moyes has got 2 choices. He either gets with the programme and works with Steidten, or he carries on his stubbornness and his control freak ways, and we're going to part company. I don't think that's going to be soon. Look, I get that I started off the whole 6-game rule again, right? I know that, and a bit tongue-in-cheek where I said on Twitter, for Christ's sake, 6-game rule in effect. It was a throwaway comment, right? Did it used to be said by David Gold? Yes, it did. Six Premier League games, 9 games in total, right? Including, and has it been repeated by other senior sources? Yes, it has. But you and I know there's no hard and fast rule, and I'm slightly having a tongue-in-cheek that swallow every single word and go, right, there's only one more game until we lose the job. In reality, it doesn't work like that, right? They will act when the time is right. And obviously it did help that we beat Arsenal, but it didn't help we lost today. We were expected to get against Nottingham Forest. We expected to get something. But, I don't think it's about that. We're not going to get relegated, right? It will be about, and it's not about getting into Europe. It will be about one thing and one thing only. And that is working together in the transfer market for January. And that's why my prediction is the key point is not November, but December. So when that list gets created by Steidten, Moyes needs to sign off on that. I understand he didn't sign off on a number of players who are now very well thought of, right? No matter what he said, he wasn't signing off on them.
Sorry. Hold on. Do you mean well thought of because they signed for other clubs or signed for West
No,
Ham?
well,
Well thought of at West Ham.
that are now well thought of. I'm talking about Kudus. I'm talking about Alvarez.
West Ham
I'm
players,
talking
right.
about Mafropanos. I'm talking about, I know people have said other people are taking credit. Let me tell you now, Gonzo, in West Ham, people don't usually credit other people. They're certain people, whether it's David Sullivan, whether it's Karen Brady, whether it's Moyes, will take credit for themselves.
I noticed.
Right?
I noticed.
It's very, very rare. I'm not going to say more than this, that a senior individual credits someone else, bigs up someone else. We're seeing a pattern here.
I agree.
Right? And that pattern, to me, says something. I don't know everything, but that pattern, I've seen it before. The pattern of bigging a person up means that person, look, and the last thing I'll say on this is, I've been told he is producing a list of possible replacements for manager. Now, that doesn't mean that David Moyes is going to get sacked. It doesn't mean he's not going to get a renewal. But it's good business practice to have a contingency list. And we should have had one last season. Now we've got a technical director who could do that. And he can create one. And then we've got a plan B. If David Moyes throws in the towel, if he doesn't get a renewal, if he goes at Christmas because he doesn't want to work with the transfer market, that's what we should be doing. Which is what we should be doing for the last 10, 12 years that Gold, Sullivan and Brady and the rest of them have been in charge. So I think we've got a proper technical director and we've got to do everything to keep him. And ultimately, I think that will be Moyes' downfall.
So do you think... how do you think this ends then? Do you think he gets to the end of the contract, or do you think it's?
I don't know, because I don't know Moyes, right? I know a lot of the other characters. I don't know Moyes enough. Is he? We all think we do. Is he stubborn enough that he will just put his feet in and go, look, I've been, no disrespect, I'm the longest serving Premier League manager. I know better than everyone else. I'm not having some German technical director tell me who I can't sign, so you can stick your job up your arse. If that happens, I think that will be Christmas time before the transfer window opens. If we get past Christmas, I think he's there to the end of the season. I don't think he's going to get a re-sign anytime soon. It will go right up to the end of the season. That decision will be made, as we know that the West Ham board like to, end of season review, and it will be,
yeah, they do.
Do we give him another contract, or do we say thanks for all the fish and we part ways like they did with Sam Allardyce?
Okay, well, just one final thing on that, Sean, before I let you go. I do appreciate you joining me. I do. As we record, it's not Sunday. It's very, very late. It's sort of, whatever. It's 10:30 on Saturday night. I do appreciate it, Sean. Do you actually think though that Moyes probably should get some credit, bearing in mind he didn't like the system, he didn't like this. He's probably found himself in an infrastructure he never imagined he would be in. The club want to modernise, the club want to go forward. And actually, do you know what? If he didn't sign those players like Alvarez, like Kudus, and like Mavropanos, he has actually not only found them in the team. I don't know if you saw his face when Kudus scored the goal today.
Yeah,
it seemed happy. He seemed elated.
Yeah.
He does. It's not like he's taking Steidten's players and not using them. So
correct.
maybe there is a way forward for him. It's for Steidten to think, hold on, I'm going to get you a striker. I think then what we see is whether Moyes carries on with Antonio. What do you think of that? And on your last one, I want you to tell me you think signed Danny Ings.
I think you're spot on there. Look, I'm absolutely grateful for David Moyes. I said on the podcast last week, I don't want to be a flip-flop. Moyes in, Moyes out, Moyes in, Moyes out. I just go, right, I don't own the club. I don't make the decisions. I'll support whatever manager's in, right? I get frustrated, yeah, like we all do. But I'm not going to lose sleep, and I'm not going to go after it and say, well, look, when his time's up, his time's up. It's not working with Danny Ings. We know we've got
Don't you think signed him?
I do think it was a gift, without a doubt. It was a gift.
It
was it was a Sullivan gift. I think we all know that, and it was a panic buy. It hasn't worked out. It's not playing to his strengths, and we're really short of a striker, which I think is going to be the top priority. I don't think we're going to sign lots of players in January, but a striker has got to be one of them. Mikel Antonio signs a 1-year extension on the 1st September, and suddenly what happens? His form dries up. How many times have we seen that? He's got his off the field problems, which about, which we won't talk about today. But still, he should spend less time talking on the podcast and more about how he's going to make up for our lack of striking options. Mbama is not the solution. It's too much to put on his shoulders. But
a better replacement than Danny Ings, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean,
the last 10 minutes in a game.
I mean, the other thing is, look, it's not working for Danny Ings, and he keeps on persevering. But Danny Ings is not on £125,000 a week.
He's not.
He's not. No, I've had that from senior source. He's not on that. He's on a lot. Look, he was on a bit fair whack at Villa, and Villa are laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, what a great bit of business that was now. And they obviously got Ollie Watkins, who then sort of stood into his shoes. And do you know what Villa people were saying at the time? Bloody hell, what are we doing? Letting Ings go and stepping up Ollie Watkins. But,
Watkins had pushed him out of the team anyway. I think that's why they'd done such good.
We were offered Ollie Watkins, weren't we?
Long time, long time. When he was at Brentford, weren't we?
Yeah, and
we were offered Ivan Toney.
No,
when he was
Ivan
at
Toney at Peterborough, but we were offered. But where was he before Brentford? Ollie Watkins.
Don't know.
He was at some obscure and Barry Silkman, I think, offered him to us at a fraction, and we sort of not proven, but anyway, look, what will be will be. I don't get too hung up on how many games he's got left and etc. I think it really matters how those two work together, and that's the point I was trying to make in my tweet that just gets regurgitated, and it will be in some news. And
it will. But there you go. But that's why I asked you, see your face. Yeah. But it would be fair to paraphrase and say, basically, Steidten's in charge of transfers. Moyes either gets with it, or
I think that's a great summary.
He's going to struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a great summary.
All right, mate. Listen, Sean, thank you very much for joining me,
I'll get a better light next time.
Get a better light. And you're going to come and join us on my Patreon podcast, aren't you?
Yeah, of course we'll. Yeah.
Thank you so much, mate. Sean Whetstone, everybody. We'll put his Twitter, West Ham Football, of course. It's where we'll put his Twitter in the link below. Go give him a follow. He's always bang up to date with all the West Ham news. He's got some really good contacts within the club. And as you can see, he knows Declan Rice really well because Declan's just behind him. Sean, cheers, mate. Take care.
Bye, mate. Bye.